This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. In Afghanistan, U.S.-led NATO forces fear increasing opposition after photographs of U.S. troops posing over dead Afghan civilians were published last week. The U.S. Army issued an apology after the images were published in the German news magazine Der Spiegel. Democracy Now! Also broadcast the photos last week. And on Sunday, Rolling Stone magazine published similar images and videos in a special report on their website. The photographs are graphic and have been compared to the pictures that emerged from the Abu Ghraib prison in Iraq. The soldiers in the photographs are on trial for forming a secret kill team in Afghanistan that murdered unarmed Afghan civilians at random and collected body parts. The images were entered as evidence into the trial. NATO airstrikes have also recently led to civilian deaths. On Friday, NATO airstrikes killed 7 civilians, including 3 children in Helmand province. Earlier in the week, NATO says 2 civilians were accidentally killed in an airstrike in the province of Khost. 2 children were killed in another NATO attack last week, and 9 boys died in another attack earlier this month. To discuss the situation in Afghanistan, we're joined by activist and former Afghan member of parliament Malalai Joya. The U.S. government initially denied a travel visa to Joya, who's been a vocal critic of the war. Supporters in the U.S. then mounted a protest campaign that included letters from the ACLU, groups of writers and academics, and 9 members of Congress, and a mass phone-in to the State Department last Wednesday. On Thursday, consular officials allowed Joya to reapply without the normal waiting period, and her visa was approved. Malalai Joya is an outspoken critic of warlords, fundamentalists, the Taliban, and of the U.S. occupation in Afghanistan. She's touring the United States to promote the 2nd edition of her autobiography, A Woman Among Warlords. In 2010, Time magazine named Joya one of 100 most influential people in the world. She has survived numerous assassination attempts, and she's joining us right now from Burlington, Vermont. Malalai Joya, welcome to Democracy Now! First, why did the U.S. government deny you a visa to come into this country?
Hello, Amy, and also to all listeners. Thanks for this interview. Because I exposed the wrong policy of the U.S. government to justice-loving great people of the U.S. And also I informed them about the wrongdoing of their government, that killing innocent people under the name of the so-called war on terror. And I tell to justice-loving people of the U.S. that their taxpayer money, billions of dollars that their government pay goes into pocket of the warlords, drug lords, and criminals, and now negotiating with the Taliban and Gulbuddin Hekmatyar, these terrorists as well. So they are not honest for our people. And I'm talking about the blind bombardment of the USA NATO forces, these occupiers, about the occupation of my country to great people of the US. These are, I think, the reasons, briefly what I said, that the US and NATO, they afraid of me, and now they denied to give me visa. But I'm happy and honored for peace-loving, justice-loving people of the U.S. who put pressure on their government and showed their solidarity with my people once again. And that's why finally they gave me visa, and I come here to bring the message of my people against occupation for democracy and peace.
Malalai, is it true that when you went to the U.S. Embassy to get your visa when you were in Afghanistan, they said they were denying it because you were unemployed and live underground?
Yeah, it was 2 reasons. I think it was just a mere excuse that also it was not just something surprise for me. I could expect that they will refuse to give me visa because I exposed the wrong policy of these warmongers and their war crime, that what they are doing under the name of democracy, women's rights, human rights against my people.
Well, explain the living underground. Are you living underground, and what does that mean?
Underground, yeah, because they are not only me, most of my people, millions of Afghans, by presence of tens of thousands of troops, they don't have security, which is important more than food and water. They suffer from injustice, corruption, joblessness, poverty, and many other miseries. So my life after my speech in 2003, that has been changed because of telling the truth, and I exposed the mask of these fundamentalist warlords who are photocopy of the Taliban. And day by day, it is getting risky, and because I never do compromise with them and never sit silence. Even they want to eliminate. That's why I have to be underground. Today, most of women of Afghanistan, not only me, even despite wearing burqa, we are not safe there. This disgusting burqa, which is symbol of oppression, today gives safety to many other Afghans, especially activist women. And despite burqa and bodyguard not now safe, my life not safe in Afghanistan, as changing the houses, so many other obstacles, not only for me, for other democratic-minded parties, intellectuals, activists that we have, and still they are underground.
Talk about the situation today in Afghanistan, this series of killings of civilians that the U.S. has had to apologize for. The person in charge, General David Petraeus, having to issue an apology for the first time a few weeks ago, especially around the killing of children. What's happening?
You know, our people now, they're fed up from listening, apologize from the White House, these warmongers and NATO governments, and also the puppet regime, mafia, corrupt regime of Hamid Karzai. We want the end of this brutal war, this disgusting war, this occupation as soon as possible. During these 10 years, tens of thousands innocent civilians has been killed, most of them innocent women, children, and men. And even during these 9 years of their occupation, they used white phosphorus cluster bomb. They are bombing our wedding parties. Maybe you heard, as you earlier mentioned, the report of Spiegel that even they insult with the died bodies of my people, these occupation forces, make fun with these died bodies. And their government, when they kill innocent civilians doing massacres, they pay $2,000, this bloody dollar, to each victim's family. It means that the lives of Afghan is equal to $2,000 for these warmongers. While most time my people reject these monies. Unfortunately, when Obama took office, his first news for my people was more conflict, more war, because he surged more troops in Afghanistan, and the result of this was more miseries, more massacres, more tragedies. And also, when compared with the Bush administration, 24% civilian deaths increased, and many other miseries, violences, they are going on in my country. And for 1,000 times, the recent report proves that today in Afghanistan, especially these 9 years, the killing of my people, for them is like killing the birds. But unfortunately, mainstream media always they slide the truths, and they shamelessly decrease the number of civilian deaths and call them insurgents, terrorists.
You mentioned, you said the die teams, what's called the kill team, the soldiers that are on trial right now in the United States, these photographs that Democracy Now! Has broadcast, these horrendous photographs. And I urge people, I warn you, as we show these photographs, that Der Spiegel showed first, of these so-called kill teams that murdered unarmed Afghan civilians at random and collected body parts as trophies. How much attention is this getting in Afghanistan right now?
These photos not only for Afghans, I believe for millions around the world, as human beings, for justice-loving people around the world, is heartbreaking. And it was not new for our Afghan people, as every day they are bombing, killing civilians under the name of these terrorists, now negotiating with these fascist Taliban, terrorist Taliban, and also Gulbuddin Hekmatyar. These terrorists come in power, the situation will be more bloody, more disaster for my people.